Welcome back to Startup Accounting 101. It's the video series for founders, small business owners to understand accounting fundamentals for running a business. So we're starting a new series, which is QuickBooks 101. We'll go through the basics and best practices for the most used accounting platform of small business, which is Intuit QuickBooks. So I am using a sample company, which is Craig's Design and Landscaping Services. But if you have QuickBooks, you should be able to follow along. The layout might look a little bit different, but the overall functionality should be the same. So the first topic we're going to start with is the chart of accounts. There are a couple of ways to get to the chart of accounts. So here under transactions, you should be able to see the chart of accounts and get there. You can also go to sort of settings, the gear icon, and all lists, and the chart of accounts should be there as well. So here we have the chart of accounts, and the first thing I look at in all accounting systems is the chart of accounts. The chart it's like a skeleton or the backbone of the accounting system. Like the way it is set up affects all transactions, how they're booked, and in turn the analytics and the financials of the business. The chart of accounts, they have all of the standard sections of financials. So we have like there are assets here, there are liabilities, let's see, there's equity, there's income or sales, cost of goods sold, expenses, and towards the end should be other income and other expenses. Go back, each account, here there is a label. Each account could be a balance sheet item. So all of those that are specific to the balance sheet will have this green BAL. Things that are part of the income statement will have the blue P&L sort of label and button here. So when looking at any accounting software, you have to know, how you see the business and how you want to set up the chart. So I will be going back and referencing our trusty financial projections template. If you haven't gone through the projection template, I'll list the entire playlist for the entire template up here in the corner. So I will be taking the income statement from this template and creating the appropriate accounts in QuickBooks. So if we come back here, there are a couple of unique accounts that I need for my business, my candy bar making business. I have a couple of revenue accounts and then cost of goods sold accounts. So I'll just create these three. There are others that are specific to me as well, but in this video, we're just going to do 3 sales and 3 COGS accounts. So I'll push them over here. So, creating these accounts, I can create a new account, and I have to designate the name of the account. So, I'm going to say that this is revenue. I need to find the account type. So, these are all income accounts. So, whenever you choose an income type, all of the income accounts will come down. That way you know what has been made already. So a lot of these, based on the sample company, is relevant for a landscaping business. We've got pest control, we've got landscaping services. So I'm going to leave them there and just create the ones that I need for my business. So I want a revenue account. The detailed type, it is for me as a CPG candy bar business, it is the sales of a product income for me. So this is the detailed type. And then I will go ahead and, because I'm mass creating a whole bunch of stuff, I could adjust it. I want to save and new because I'm creating at least 3 new sales accounts and sub accounts and 3 new cost of goods sold accounts. So let's go save and new. And once you set that, QuickBooks knows that you might want to do more of them. So it will default to save and new. So now I can go and say candy bar MSRP, because these are the 3 I want to make now, the 3 sub accounts under revenue. So the income type, that is correct. And I know that it's a sub account for revenue. So I do want to make it a sub account, and the parent account I want is revenue. So if we look here, this is sort of a preview of what it's going to look like and how it's going to sit together on any financials. This is how it will be presented. So in QuickBooks, what I like to do for sub accounts, I do like to note what the parent account is, because in the drop down, it's only going to give this line, not necessarily the parent. So for ease, I do like to say this is the revenue of a candy bar MSRP. That way it sits together on the same line. So I'm just going to do that for all of them. Candy bar wholesale is the next one I want. The parent company is revenue. And this is a nice preview window, and I'm good with that. Next one is revenue for a candy bar, Costco. And so these are the 3 accounts that I want to create on the revenue side. And then I'm just going to do it once for the cost of goods sold. And here we do have cost of goods sold already. So I'm going to just use it and just create the 3 sub accounts. So the detail type for me and my candy bar business is supplies and materials. So I'm just going to say this is COGS of the candy bar MSRP under cost of goods sold, and here's a nice preview window. I'm good with that. Next we have COGS. Alright, so candy bar wholesale, sub account of this. Great, and then one more. So this is the COGS for Costco. And we do want it to sit under, so these are all sub accounts. And I am good with that. So I will save, just because this is the last one. I don't need to pop up a new account. So those have been created. So as you're creating accounts, the way that it arranges itself in QuickBooks by default is alphabetical. So it's easiest to see in the expense section. So it's alphabetical, starting with advertising, all like from A to Z. It starts with advertising and ends with like utilities, probably. Yeah, utilities is down here. And so what I like to do is create or set up account numbers. It is one of the best practices to have. So the way to do that is you're going to go to Accounts and Settings, and this is an advanced option. So there's a chart of accounts section, some more advanced features. So one of them is to turn on account numbers. And to be able to see that account numbers, let's see if they'll show it here. No. It just says like it'll display, it's supposed to say it'll display account numbers on different reports and transactions. So you'll see it on the balance sheet, P&L, journal entries. And so once that is set up, then, and that is turned on, click done. So now, if I refresh this, if I looked at the chart of accounts again, it will have a new column to the very left for numbers. So it might take a minute for that to process. In the meantime, alright, took a little while to process, but now we see a number column that wasn't there before. And so we can start adding account numbers to the chart of accounts. So the best way to do that is to run the report. And here we could export to Excel. So that is going to be down here. Right, so this is the export that comes out of QuickBooks. And so what I'm going to do is, all right, so the best practice when setting up enacting account numbers for an accounting system, there is a general rule of thumb as to what the numbering should be depending on the type of account that it is. So if it is an asset account, like these up here are all assets, they will all start with 1, liabilities are then 2, equity is 3, sales or revenue is 4, COGS, cost of goods sold, is 5. And then expenses have, 6 through 8 are expenses, and then 9 is other income, expenses, and miscellaneous for the bill for the accounts. Now, basically, depending on the number of accounts you have, depending how big your business is, you will just add the number of zeros that you need. I would say that most companies, small companies, having 4 digits, having it be 1,000 up to 9,999 should be sufficient for most small businesses. So with that, I think we will go and add some account numbers to some of this. So we pretty much just start from the top, like the bank accounts. You always want it to sit. So the numbers, the benefit of the numbers is that it will help sort the financials in the way that you want to see it. Because right now it's going to auto sort by section. I mean, they have a certain layout on which account types should sit where on a financials, but it's just going to be alphabetical. So what I did was I went in and I looked at what was available, and it should be this. So it pretty much follows all of the assets. You start with 1,000, then you can just add 100 so that there's a little bit of buffer in between each type. So we've got ARs, another 100, inventories, another 100, and then 1,300, 1,400 for unpaid prepaid assets. Then we have our fixed assets here. And then if you had more, you would just add to it. So it'd be like 1700, 1800. Then we are able to move into the new section, which is the 2000s, is liabilities here. And I just added like types, like credit cards is like a new section. So if you have more than one credit card, then you can just go one up. So, AP, accounts payable, starts at 2000. The first credit card is 2100. Then you can go 2101, 2102, however many credit cards you have. You can just add more. And then you will eventually hit the equity section. So right now it's pretty lean. If you have multiple rounds of investments, you might want to create a new line item for each round. So like seed round, pre-seed round, Series A, Series B. You might want to separate them out just so that it's easier to figure out, easier to match up on a cap table. Then we come to the income section. So this is all income here. So this all will have 4,000 in the 4,000 range. So I went and I looked at the different accounts. For me, the things that are most relevant to me that I needed for my business is going to be, the revenue candy bar. So that actually, the revenue is 4,000. And then the rest, which are not relevant to me, but rather the landscaping business, I assigned a number just based on how relevant it is to my business. And it's the same concept for all the other sections. So we've got COGS is the 5,000 sections. The next section, if I looked at the financial template, the next comes payroll. So I went in order of sequence. So after COGS, 5,000 is 6,000. So I put anything people cost, people related in the 6,000 section. So here, like 6,000 is going to be like job expenses, payroll, that sort of thing. And then 7,000s, 8,000. So it really is up to discretion. So the next sort of best practice is the amounts that, the higher amounts that have the most impact on your business. So from the financial projections template, it was the common size. So if I come over here and looked at the common size, we can see that payroll is 46%. It's pretty significant cost for the business. So I would want to put that higher up on the financials where they sit. So they will have, the next series of numbers. So that's why payroll, I gave them like 6,000 because it's important. And then I would look at this and say, okay, well, probably legal services and miscellaneous, which for me was trade spend. So like trade spend would come next, and then kind of taper out to probably utilities. So in terms of this section, the expenses section is very flexible as to how to do the numbers because every business is going to be different. The expenses that are important for any business, it's going to be unique to you and the business. So going back to here. So this is basically what we have. So now that we have this, there's something, I also put NA on the accounts that I knew weren't really relevant to my business. Like I don't really need to print stationery. And so, when doing this, one of the things you're looking for is also trying to simplify and pare down the accounts. So one of the the last best practice that I have for you is to try to avoid chart of account clutter. The most common mistake that I see with chart of accounts is having way too many accounts. I think there's like a temptation to, I have to be super specific. I want to know everything about my business, which is great. But there are other ways to provide that granular detail that does not have to run through the actual chart of accounts. You want to have enough accounts to provide clarity, but not so many accounts that it's confusing and it's just not practical. Because somebody, either you or an accountant, a bookkeeper, they're going to have to code and book all of the transactions, and they have to pick an account number to expense or to code under. And if there's so many accounts, it just gets confusing. So I would say sit down, it's a worthwhile exercise to do this. Okay? And if you do, you're well on your way to using QuickBooks to its fullest potential. So now that we have some account numbers, we would go back to QuickBooks here, and then we would add account numbers, right? So if we go back to the chart of accounts, I will do it for a handful of them, and then so like checking account, I wanted this to be 1,000. So I'm saving that. You register, editing this. Okay, and for magic of editing, I will have them all in a moment. All right, so I went and I added in numbers for pretty much everything that was relevant. And if you come down here, there are some that I didn't provide a number for, some sub-accounts that for a small business, I think it's just too much information. So for me, one line that says utilities is enough. I don't need to break it out between phone and gas and electric. So for some things, I could opt to inactivate these accounts. So that's here. And it says reduce usage. Again, there's just one less account to decide on. So like some of these that don't have account numbers, I've decided to just inactivate them. So repairs and maintenance is enough. I don't need that broken down. Bookkeeping is redundant with accounting. And the things that I did want to do is, job expenses. So these are accounts that are billable expenses. So there is an option here that says, hey, if I book this expense, there's an option where I can convert it into income or sales. Like I can bill it as like a pass-through expense for my clients. So here's a job expense. There is here landscaping services, and then like job materials and job labor. So maybe job expenses, there is nothing here because that's just a parent category. But if I go here with the cost of labor, I am going to say, okay, this is a cost of labor. And so when I bill for this, I could convert it into a billable expense for my customer, where I will give it a number. And it would be the same for all of these as well. So if I looked at job materials, I have to purchase decks and patios as, for landscaping. But of course, my client is going to reimburse me for these expenses. Then I can create and make them a billable expense, and there should be here, yes. So there's an income a revenue account that says, hey, they're paying me for the comparable decks and patios, and that was 606. So that can be done for any billable expense. So now that there are, a decent amount of numbers, if we looked at a P&L, so now it will be laid out according to the account number. So here it starts from 404, and then discounts given, then the expenses go from 6 to 7, so in the order that it was set up. So I think with that, I'll summarize the best practices. So one is go ahead and add account numbers. It's much easier to reference an account number actually than a name, especially as you're coding a lot of different transactions. When you're creating a lot of invoices, it's much easier to reference a number. Secondly is to order it according to the common size. Again, this is here. If you need a refresher of what a common size the financials are, I'll link that over here in the corner. And lastly is try to avoid chart of account clutter. Try to simplify as much as you can. It will make it much easier for you later. It will make it less confusing, much more practical. And if you follow these 3 best practices, you will be able to use QuickBooks. You'll be able to unlock the potential of QuickBooks. It's a worthwhile exercise in any accounting system, not just QuickBooks. Any accounting system, if you're in NetSuite, if you're in SAP, Oracle, doesn't matter. You're going to want to clean up the chart of accounts. If you're not sure how to do this, how best to do this, find an accountant that will help you. You can reach out to me. I actually can provide these services for you. Let's see. Here's a QR code. It'll open up a contact form for me. It is one of the services that I provide to clients. But please, it is worthwhile to do this. Please adjust and please update your chart of accounts. It will make a world of a difference. So now that we've reviewed the chart of accounts in QuickBooks, the next video we'll look at products and services section. So like and comment. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, and thanks for watching.